Prince Harry's Invictus game. You follow the royal family very, very closely. What's the latest there?
He's having a lot of issues.
In a wild royal shakeup, King Charles III just made a move nobody saw coming, completely cutting Prince Harry and Meghan Markle off from Sandringham. No heads up, no quiet talks, just a cold and final call that has people talking everywhere. Some insiders say this was overdue, like it was building for a while. Others think it shows something deeper going on behind those palace walls. The tension is rising fast, and the rumors are getting louder. This is not just another family issue, it feels like a real turning point for the monarchy. So now people are split. Was this move fair, or did the royal family push things too far? Everyone has something to say about it. Behind the scenes, the whispers are getting intense. Royal insider Paula Froelich says a quiet but serious decision just went down. King Charles has reportedly shut down any chance of Harry and Meghan getting invited to Sandringham this summer, and the reason goes back to what insiders are calling their controversial Australia trip. Now here is where it gets messy. Was there ever even a real invite to begin with? Or did this whole thing get blown up into something bigger than it was? The way this situation even came up is what caught attention. A lot of royal watchers are saying this looks familiar. Instead of handling it privately like most families would, it played out in public again. Harry reportedly told the media that he and Meghan would be open to going to Sandringham, almost like he was putting it out there first. It did not come from a direct talk with his father. It was more like a public signal. Some people see that as bold, others see it as crossing a line. And that move right there might have been what pushed things over the edge. It sounded casual, almost harmless at first, but behind that chill tone, there might have been something way more calculated going on.
I think it's also just, I've said it before and I'll say it again, it is flipping the bird to the king. He never would have done this had the queen been alive.
Because showing up on royal grounds as an official guest is not just about seeing family. It comes with major perks, including state-funded security paid by the public. That alone changes the whole picture. If you've been keeping up with this situation, then you already know security has become a huge issue in Harry's life. Private protection is not cheap at all. It costs serious money. And with the lifestyle they're living now, that kind of expense adds pressure fast. So that simple public comment doesn't look so innocent anymore. It starts to feel like there was more behind it.
So people are asking questions. Was this really about reconnecting with family, or was it about getting access to royal-level benefits again? Then things got more emotional. There was talk about bringing the children, saying it would be nice for them to spend time with their grandfather. On the surface, it sounds genuine and warm, but inside the palace, not everyone saw it that way. For some insiders, that move raised eyebrows. When emotions get pulled into public situations like this, it can start to feel like pressure instead of sincerity. Sources close to the inner circle say this was not viewed as a simple ask. They saw it as a calculated move, something meant to put the king in a tough spot in front of everyone. But this time, it did not work. The palace did not fold. They stood firm and did not change course. Behind the scenes, opinions are getting stronger. Some insiders now describe Harry as someone who pushes harder when things do not go his way. Someone who turns up the pressure instead of stepping back. And what really got people talking was the idea that emotional pressure might have been used in a way that left a mark. When family gets pulled into strategy, it changes the whole situation. Now it's not just about a cancelled visit anymore. It's about trust, motives, and what is really going on behind these decisions. So people are asking what actually happened that made the palace draw such a hard line. How did everything flip so fast after that one trip? To understand that, You have to look at why Australia mattered so much. On the surface, it looked like a normal tour. There were photo ops, charity stops, and all the usual royal moments people expect to see. But that Australia trip ended up being a breaking point. Something about it did not sit right, and the public reaction made that clear fast. Australia has always shown strong support for the royal family, so the shift in energy was hard to ignore. Reports started coming out saying a large number of locals did not want Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to return. That's not just bad press, that's a serious signal that something went wrong. At first glance, everything looked polished and controlled. Smiles were everywhere, appearances were planned down to the detail, and every moment seemed designed to show care and connection. But under that clean image, a different story was building.
Meghan showed up as a special guest at a high-end wellness retreat, where people reportedly paid thousands just to be there. We are talking luxury rooms, curated experiences, and even the chance to be seen around her. Travel and accommodation were fully covered, adding even more attention to the situation. That detail alone had people questioning what was really going on behind the scenes. It raised a lot of eyebrows, not because making money is wrong, but because of how close it seemed to moments that were meant to be about service. That is where the tension really started to build. Just days before that luxury appearance, Meghan had visited a hospital, spending time with children dealing with serious health issues. It should have stayed a quiet and sincere moment, but very quickly, details about what she wore started spreading online. People were sharing the exact outfit, along with links showing where to buy it. For many watching, it did not feel random at all. It felt planned. That is when things started to look uncomfortable. Now think about how that looked to the public. Families sitting in hospital rooms, dealing with fear and stress, while at the same time, the outfit from that visit turns into part of an online shopping trend. For some observers, that crossed a line that should not be touched. It made the situation feel like compassion and business were getting mixed in a way that did not sit right. Then there was another issue, the cost. Even though they're no longer working royals, reports claimed that security for the visit still ran into hundreds of thousands, covered by Australian taxpayers. That detail added even more frustration to the situation. People started asking real questions. If they're acting as private individuals, why are public funds still involved? Critics spoke up fast. They questioned whether the couple still had the same level of influence or credibility around the world. From the United States to the United Kingdom and beyond, there was a growing feeling that their image was starting to lose strength. What once looked like bold independence was now being seen by some as too much exposure and poor judgment. And what made it stand out even more was how it lined up with past warnings. Queen Elizabeth II had made it clear before. Trying to balance public service with personal profit was never going to be simple. It all came down to balance, discipline, and smart judgment. And many people now believe ignoring that advice led straight to moments like this. Just when it seemed like the backlash could not get any louder, something else hit the scene. This time it was more personal. Something Prince Harry said started making rounds, and it was unexpected, political, and impossible to brush off. People started asking what he actually said. That made things even worse. The situation was already tense, but this pushed it further. Inside the palace, the mood reportedly shifted fast. What started as concern turned into something much heavier. When King Charles got briefed, sources say it was not just disappointment, it was strong frustration, even anger. But that was just the start. While the Australia situation was already causing problems, another issue was building quietly in the background. And when it came out, it took everything to another level. The timing made it even more intense. Just 4 days separated two major moments,
and when you line them up, it raises serious questions. On one side, King Charles was preparing for a major state visit to Washington, D.C. This was not a casual trip. It was so important that he reportedly paused ongoing cancer treatment just to carry out his duties. That alone shows the level of pressure he was under. Then, on the other side, Prince Harry suddenly appeared in Ukraine. This was not a low-key visit or a quiet show of support. It turned into a public moment with a speech that grabbed attention fast. And it was not just any speech either. Reports say it touched on political issues and even included criticism of figures in American leadership, including Donald Trump. Now look at that timing. Just 4 days before his father, already dealing with serious health strain, was set to meet with leaders connected to those same topics. That overlap had people seriously questioning the judgment behind it. It is the kind of overlap that people notice right away, especially in a world where every word and every move is watched closely. For many watching this unfold, it raised a tough question. Was this just poor timing and lack of awareness, or was there something more behind it? When you step back and look at the pattern, it starts to stand out. Big interviews dropping at sensitive moments, public comments lining up with major royal events. It doesn't feel random anymore. It starts to look like a cycle that keeps repeating. And inside the palace, this is not something they ignore. Reports say it has been talked about for years. There's also growing concern about stress and the effect it can have, especially on someone dealing with serious health issues. Prince William has often been linked to the view that emotional pressure can affect recovery and treatment, but moments like these keep adding strain at the worst possible times. Now look at it from the king's side. He's getting ready for a major international visit, adjusting medical treatment and handling pressure from all over the world. Then suddenly, a speech from his own son enters the picture, one that could make already sensitive diplomatic talks even more complicated before they even start. That situation alone is enough to raise tension.
Whether it was planned or not, the impact is the same. It adds more weight to an already heavy situation. And this is where things start to feel confusing. In public, there have been multiple statements about wanting peace, about fixing the relationship, and even emotional interviews talking about time running out. But when moments like this happen, the actions do not line up with the words. Instead of bringing people closer, they seem to push things further apart. That gap keeps getting wider, not smaller. And this is where things take a more serious turn, because it is not just about emotions or bad timing anymore. There is another layer to this that people are starting to look at more closely. It goes beyond family tension and moves into something more complicated. Now the questions are getting bigger. Could there be legal trouble connected to what was said? And even deeper than that, is this part of a larger issue tied to finances and long-term pressure? People are starting to wonder what is really going on under the surface. Is there more to the legal side of that speech than it first seemed? And could financial stress be playing a bigger role in these decisions? Some believe this situation might be more serious than it looks at first glance. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In the United States, there's a law called the Logan Act. It's meant to stop private individuals from stepping into official foreign policy matters or interfering with government negotiations. The goal is simple: protect diplomacy from outside influence. Harry is not a US citizen, which already makes things less straightforward. But the bigger issue is not just about citizenship, it's about the type of actions being taken. When a private figure with no official role starts making public political statements aimed at global leaders, especially in sensitive places like Ukraine, it raises real concerns. This is where critics start speaking up louder. Even if it does not clearly break a specific law, some say it goes against the spirit of rules like the Logan Act. The concern is about private individuals stepping into global political space in a way that could blur diplomatic lines or shape how situations are seen around the world. And this brings up another uncomfortable question that people have been asking quietly. Would Harry have even gone to Ukraine if things had played out differently in Australia? Because Australia is where everything started to shift. What looked like a typical royal-style tour with planned visits, staged photos, charity moments, and public smiles did not land the way it was expected to. Instead of boosting his image, the reaction reportedly went the other way. Insiders say post-tour polling was rough and even described as damaging. The story around him did not get stronger, it started to weaken. That's where analysts believe the pressure really kicked in, not just from outside voices, but from within as well. There was a growing need to stay visible and to change the narrative being told in public.
Some observers say this pattern keeps showing up. When criticism rises, appearances increase. When attention fades, big statements follow. That is where Ukraine becomes part of the story, raising more questions about timing, intent, and how everything is being positioned on the global stage. But the questions do not stop there. People are now asking who actually funded the Ukraine trip, what was the official purpose behind it, and whether any resources connected to the Invictus Games were involved in supporting what some critics see as a very public appearance with political undertones. Right now, there are no clear answers, and that is why the speculation keeps growing. At the same time, another issue is building in the background. Financial pressure, shifts in media strategy, and changing relationships in publishing circles are all starting to show. Names like Dan Wakeford, who once helped shape the public image around the couple, have moved roles, changed platforms, or stepped away from traditional media spaces. That shift alone is adding another layer to an already complicated situation. And as those media support systems start to shift, new claims are coming out about what is really going on behind those big deals. There's talk that the Netflix agreement was not as massive as people first believed. The Spotify partnership also reportedly did not hit the numbers many expected. And those long-term inheritance funds that once looked like a safety net may not be as strong anymore, especially with ongoing costs like security, legal battles, and operations adding up to tens of millions. Right in the middle of all this, projects are slowing down, productions are getting delayed, deals that once looked promising are losing momentum. Some industry insiders are quietly saying that just having their name attached to a project can now shift investor confidence either way. That alone shows how much things have changed. Now, sources are claiming they are still together for now because they rely on each other. She leans on his title while he depends on her management side, and both still need that royal connection to stay in the spotlight. Without it, some believe their influence drops fast. That idea is raising bigger questions about what comes next. So now the focus turns to King Charles. What should he do next? For some people watching this unfold, pulling back access to Sandringham is not enough. There's growing public pressure for stronger moves and clearer boundaries. When it comes to the public conversation, a lot of this doesn't even feel new anymore. Many observers admit it sounds like the same arguments being repeated again and again, the same claims, the same disagreements, just reshaped and pushed out across different platforms. But what really stands out now is the tone. There's a rising frustration among some voices who feel parts of the media have shifted away from straight reporting and into shaping narratives. Some believe certain stories were carefully built for attention or profit. Now that more independent voices are speaking up, the conversation is becoming more direct, less controlled, and a lot more uncomfortable for everyone involved.
At the same time, public reaction is getting louder and more unified, and it is clear that this situation is not fading anytime soon. Across social media and online platforms, one demand keeps showing up again and again. People are calling for them to be removed from official royal roles, stripped of ceremonial titles, and fully separated from the institution. It is getting louder, and it is not slowing down. What many people do not always realize is that, from a constitutional point of view, the monarch does have control over certain royal titles and styles. These things are not always permanent. History shows they can be changed, adjusted, or even removed when needed. In the past, monarchs have made major shifts to the royal structure with a single formal decision, completely reshaping how the monarchy presents itself. That is why some commentators are saying this is not about what can be done, it is about what will be done. Because in theory, the monarch could step in and draw a clear line. That would mean making it official that certain individuals are acting privately and do not represent the crown in any way. That kind of move would change everything overnight. It would not just be symbolic anymore, it would be structural and impossible to ignore. Every public appearance, every deal, every partnership would instantly be seen through a different lens. That's where the pressure starts to build even more. Some analysts believe a move like that would hit private ventures hard, especially anything connected to royal identity. It would bring more scrutiny, more questions, and more challenges for every move they make. Others see it differently. They think it could create a direct clash between personal freedom and the traditions of a historic institution. That tension brings up bigger questions about identity, branding, and authority all at once. But even with all this pressure building, insiders are still unsure if it will actually happen. Some believe the monarch is more likely to stay cautious, choosing restraint instead of making a bold and confrontational move. Critics say this hesitation is only making things worse over time. Instead of calming the situation, it is allowing tension to build up layer by layer. Behind closed doors, frustration is reportedly growing among key figures. The repeated controversies and constant media stories are starting to look like a pattern that cannot be ignored anymore.
Public speeches made abroad are also adding to the pressure. Some see them as stepping into sensitive political space, while others view them as personal beliefs being expressed openly. Either way, the impact is real, and the situation is still far from settled. It keeps pulling global attention, and every new move adds more weight to an already complicated dynamic. The pressure point stays the same. Every appearance, every comment, every headline adds another twist to the balance between public visibility and royal authority. That tension is not going anywhere, and now it leads straight into what might be the most sensitive part of this entire situation. There is a deeper issue sitting under everything, and it has not been fully explained yet. It is not just about family disagreements or public image, it is about security. The real question is what is actually driving the protection decisions, the restrictions, and the quiet conflicts happening out of public view. Behind the Sandringham story, there is a much more serious and legally complex situation unfolding. What looks like a simple issue about invitations is actually tied to a bigger dispute over security arrangements in the United Kingdom. At the center of it all is Prince Harry's ongoing legal fight to regain police protection when he is in the UK. This has already gone through parts of the court system and continues to face resistance from official institutions. From his side, the argument is clear. Returning to the UK without proper security creates serious personal risk, especially considering his public profile and his military background. However, UK authorities see it very differently. Their position is that his status changed the moment he stepped back as a senior working royal. Because of that, automatic taxpayer-funded security no longer applies in the same way. That gap in views has created a long-running standoff that goes way beyond family drama. What makes this even bigger is how it connects directly to royal logistics. This is not just about personal safety. Security decisions affect where visits can happen, when they can happen, and if they can happen at all. Places like Sandringham are not just private homes, they come with strict protocols. Without the right clearance, access becomes complicated fast.
So what looks like a simple withdrawn invitation might actually be something deeper. It may not only be about emotions or personal choices. It could be tied to real structural limits around protection and planning. That detail changes how the whole situation is seen. Analysts also point out that this issue is part of a much bigger picture. It sits right in the middle of legal rules, public funding debates, and institutional responsibility. If security is approved, people start asking about cost and fairness. If it is denied, the focus shifts to risk and duty of care. Either way, there is no easy answer. That is why this situation feels stuck. Every option comes with political, financial, and reputational consequences. There is no clean solution that keeps everyone satisfied. At the same time, these legal battles are shaping how the public sees the monarchy itself. Even though courts deal with the technical side, the public reacts in a much more emotional way. People start thinking about fairness, privilege, accountability, and where the line should be drawn. All of that becomes part of the bigger story. As this legal and institutional standoff continues behind closed doors and inside courtrooms, it is slowly building into something larger. It's not just about security or family issues anymore. It's starting to reshape how people on both sides of the Atlantic view every move being made. And that shift could change the entire royal narrative in ways that go beyond tradition. And now there is a declining popularity of Harry and Meghan. But is this shift in public perception truly permanent? Or could one unexpected move completely change how Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are viewed on both sides of the Atlantic? Let's reveal the details. The declining popularity of Harry and Meghan. Public opinion around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle has shown a clear pattern of decline when examined through long-term polling and media analysis. What once began as strong global curiosity and widespread public support has gradually weakened into a more critical and divided perception across both the UK and the US. Polling trends from major outlets, such as YouGov, consistently reflect this shift, showing that their approval ratings are no longer stable. Instead, they move up and down in response to media exposure, public statements, and high-profile projects. While certain moments still generate sympathy, often tied to their departure from royal duties or personal challenges, these peaks are increasingly short-lived. They are quickly followed by drops in favorability, especially after controversial interviews, documentaries, or public criticism of royal institutions. In the UK, the decline in popularity is more noticeable and often more sustained. Surveys regularly indicate that a significant portion of the public holds a negative or skeptical view, particularly when discussions focus on duty, tradition, and their continued use of royal identity despite stepping back from official roles. In the US, the reaction looks a little different, but the shift is still there. Early excitement and strong admiration have cooled off over time. What replaced it is not full rejection, but a more cautious and divided view. Support is no longer as loud or as consistent as it once was. The biggest takeaway from all of this is not just the ups and downs, it is the slow fade. Analysts say their public image does not hold steady anymore. It does not bounce back the way it used to. Instead, every new appearance seems to highlight the divide even more instead of bringing people back on the same side. That creates a tough situation. Popularity is not building, it is being tested again and again, and more often than not, it takes a hit under public scrutiny. This ongoing decline is not just about numbers, it's shaping a bigger story about visibility, relevance, and access to royal spaces. So now the question gets deeper. When approval ratings drop across both the UK and the US, does that start to affect more than just public opinion? Could it influence quiet decisions behind palace walls about who stays connected to royal tradition and who starts to drift away? That is where things get even more serious. To understand that, you have to look at what Sandringham really represents. It's not just another royal property,
It holds real meaning that goes far beyond the building itself. For generations, it has been one of the most personal spaces tied to the monarchy, connected to family, tradition, and continuity. In the public imagination, Sandringham is where the royal family steps away from official duties and enters a more private world. It's less about ceremony and more about personal connection. That's what makes it different.
One of its strongest symbols is the annual Christmas gathering. For decades, this has been the place where the family comes together, away from cameras, pressure, and formal roles. It represents rare moments of closeness where status fades and family bonds take over. That tradition alone makes any decision connected to Sandringham feel much bigger than it seems. Because of all this, Sandringham is often seen as a symbol of unity, not control. It is not about power, it is about connection. Beyond the Christmas gatherings, the estate represents something deeper, the idea of a private royal life that exists away from official duties. Unlike major palaces linked to state business, Sandringham is viewed as a place where the royal family can just be a family. That difference matters a lot. It gives the space real emotional weight, tied to shared history, memories, and traditions passed down over generations. That is why even the idea of being excluded from Sandringham hits differently. It is not just about missing an invite or not showing up to a property. It feels like being shut out of something much more personal. It touches on belonging, trust, and connection to the inner circle. In that sense, Sandringham becomes more than just a location. It turns into a symbol. Being part of it suggests closeness to the core of the royal family. Being left out can be seen as distance, both emotionally and within the structure of the institution. That quiet signal is what makes it so powerful. People read into it, they analyze it, and they connect it to bigger issues about relationships and loyalty. That is why conversations around Sandringham carry so much intensity. It is never just about the place itself, it's about what it represents at a deeper level. The estate is not just about location or events, it speaks to identity inside the royal system and what it really means to belong to a family that also operates as a global institution. That is what makes every decision tied to it feel so important and so closely watched. So now the focus turns back to you. What do you think about King Charles's decision and Harry's speech involving Trump and his father? Do you think this moment will follow him long-term or fade over time? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you want more updates and deep dives like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video.